Welcome back to Maple Flash, your source for truth in a time of chaos. Today's headline isn't just another trade story, it's a turning point in North American politics. The United States, under President Donald Trump, has effectively declared an economic war on Canada. And Prime Minister Mark Carney is standing at the front lines. Let's break it down. On July 11th, Trump's office released a presidential trade directive, a blunt declaration. Starting August 1st, the U.S. will impose a 35% blanket tariff on Canadian goods entering the United States. This includes lumber, autos, steel, aluminum, and even agricultural products, the backbone of Canadian exports. Trump blamed Canada for failing to curb the flow of Chinese fentanyl into the U.S. He also accused Ottawa of manipulating the trade balance and weaponizing regulatory barriers to protect Canadian industries. "We will no longer be exploited," Trump said in a press conference. Canada is not getting a free ride anymore. Prime Minister Mark Carney, calm and measured as always, took the podium just hours later in Ottawa. He didn't retaliate. Not yet. "We are committed to protecting Canadian workers, farmers, and industry," Carney said. "But we won't escalate in haste. We will respond intelligently and on our terms." Carney's government had planned to double its existing 25% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. metals by July 21st. But in a strategic pivot, Carney hit pause, choosing diplomacy over immediate retaliation, at least until August. This isn't just political theater. This is economic trench warfare. Trade between the U.S. and Canada tops $850 billion annually. Over 73% of Canada's exports head south of the border. A 35% tariff could crush key sectors. Auto manufacturing in Ontario. Forestry in British Columbia and Quebec. Grain and beef from the prairies. Even maple syrup exports are under threat. According to a recent Yale economic study, Canada would suffer the sharpest GDP contraction of any U.S. trade partner, up to 2.1% of national output. Carney, an economist by training and former governor of the Bank of England, isn't reacting emotionally. He's working the back channels. Canadian diplomats are now negotiating exemptions for fertilizer, energy exports, natural gas, crude oil, USMCA compliant goods. Carney is also lobbying Congress and U.S. state governors directly, especially those whose industries rely on Canadian raw materials. And behind the scenes, Ottawa is reportedly preparing a $12 billion emergency support fund for industries likely to be hit hardest. It's not just Canada watching. The world is on edge. The EU Trade Commissioner called Trump's tariff a destabilizing act and offered to accelerate talks with Canada on a widened trade corridor. Japan and the UK expressed concern, with early signals of willingness to increase imports from Canada as a show of solidarity. The WTO has already received notice from Ottawa of a possible challenge, arguing the 35% tariff violates global trade norms. This isn't just about two neighbors anymore. It's about the global trade order. Markets don't wait for diplomacy. On Friday, the Dow Jones plunged 279 points. The S&P 500 slipped 0.3%, and Canadian stocks saw a broad sell-off. The loonie fell sharply against the US dollar, hitting $0.71, its lowest point in 18 months. Commodity prices, especially aluminum and wheat, spiked, with US importers bracing for shortages and price hikes. Carney has 18 days, until August 1st, to defuse the situation or brace for impact. Trump has said the tariffs are non-negotiable unless Canada bans all Chinese fentanyl transshipment, cuts agri-subsidies, and drops environmental barriers for U.S. corporations. These demands are seen as politically impossible in Canada and legally dubious under USMCA. The big question, is Trump using this moment to destroy the trade pact entirely? Some U.S. analysts believe this is step one in withdrawing from USMCA and returning to a U.S.-only economy. Canada may formally suspend its commitments under USMCA if no compromise is reached. The opposition leader Pierre Poilievre has accused Carney of being too slow and demanded immediate countermeasures. A rare emergency session of Parliament is being scheduled next week to approve economic countermeasures and potential legal action. Meanwhile, polls show a surprising unity. Over 68% of Canadians support Carney's approach, preferring strategic calm over Trump-style escalation. This is more than a trade war, this is a battle for who defines economic sovereignty in North America. Can Mark Carney protect Canada's economy while navigating Trump's unpredictable playbook? Or are we headed for the biggest economic rupture in Canada, U.S. history since the Great Depression? Stay tuned, we'll be covering every turn right here on Maple Flash. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Do you think Carney should hit back now, or keep holding the line? Until next time.